Welcome back to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast, brought to you by Violet Defense. Violet Defense is dedicated to protecting our world from germs by bringing the power of UV disinfection to everyday spaces. Their patented technology enables them to harness the power of the sun to incorporate ultraviolet light into products and environments like never before. Whether you're ready to implement existing products, or if you'd like to explore researching and developing a custom deployment of their technology for your school, Violet Defense has the solutions and the experience you need. Thanks again to Violet Defense for sponsoring the Educational AD Podcast. The Educational AD Podcast also wants to thank Varsity Brands featuring BSN, Varsity Spirit, and Herff Jones. Varsity Brands, elevating student experiences in sport, spirit, and achievement. We also want to thank Hometown Ticketing, who helps thousands of schools across the country seamlessly provide convenient digital ticketing options for their communities, families, and fans. Hometown Ticketing, simple and easy online ticketing. The Educational AD Podcast also wants to thank Gipper, Ephesus Lighting, Camp Mobile, and VitalSigns for being a sponsor. Thanks to all of our great sponsors. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast, brought to you by Violet Defense. Our guest today is Gretchen Walker. Gretchen is the general manager of VitalSigns Wall of Fame out of Columbus, Ohio. They've been a very good sponsor of our state association, the FIAAA. I know they're very active in other states and other schools as well, but this is kind of a special sponsor segment. So Gretchen, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having us and giving me the opportunity to speak about the product. So appreciate it.
Well, we're always, as athletic directors and coaches, we're always trying to learn more and do a better job for our schools and our communities. So we're excited to hear what you have to share. We always like to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So tell us a little bit about yourself, including, Wall of Fame. But, where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? What was kind of the career path that led you to your current position as general manager of VitalSigns?
Absolutely. So about me, I actually grew up in a suburb of Columbus, Upper Arlington, which is just down the street from Ohio State University, where my dad was a professor. And when I think about like my way of athletics, I grew up a dancer. So not really in all those little league sports myself. I did get a really good break. My junior year of high school, I made it to the JVB tennis team. So that's pretty much the height of my athletic career. But after high school, I went to Wittenberg University in Springfield, Ohio, where I met my husband. We've been married for 20 years this year. And we now live just north of Columbus in Marysville with our 4 kids, ages 16, 15, 10, and 3.5. So we're busy with them. But I have become an athlete, I guess I could say, in my later years. I picked up running about 6 or 7 years ago. And so my husband and I do run trails together. So I completed my first trail marathon this summer. So that was a big accomplishment for me. So my job path, and when I was 18 years old, I actually started interning for a software company. And the owner of that software company is the owner of this current company that I work for. So I've been working with him since I was 18. I actually went to college to be a math teacher. But in that last semester, my senior year, I decided not to do my student teaching and took some financial accounting classes, and then actually joined my now boss for the company he was working for at that time. And we've just kind of been working through some different endeavors over the years. And we're in this endeavor now. But then on the side, after we got married, my husband did become a teacher and became a coach. So that was my view into the athletics, was starting with him coaching, and then he became an athletic director, which he was for, I think, about 13, 14 years. And now he's at central office, still in the education world. So that's kind of the where I've come.
No, and I'm glad you mentioned it. The interview is not about your husband, but he is an athletic director, or was very successful athletic director. So you certainly know your way around the world of athletics. Probably, I don't want to say firsthand, but definitely not secondhand. And also now your position with VitalSigns, where you guys are working directly with ADs across the country. So appreciate you sharing that. Okay.
Absolutely.
Before we jump into the rest of the interview, we always like to hear about the people that have influenced our guests. Leadership and particularly mentorship is such an important part of our profession. So who are some of your mentors growing up? Maybe family members or teachers, coaches that you might have had. I use the expression, I still hear those voices in my head when I'm talking to a kid or a coach or sometimes a parent. So do you have any voices that you still hear?
Yeah, I would say from my youth, my big involvement was just in our church. So I had a lot of youth leaders growing up who really influenced my path in that direction. But honestly, with having worked with my boss for the last however many years, and he's always been that leader in the business world. He's the one who takes the risks. And he is the one who kind of trickles down his knowledge over the years to me, and has allowed me to grow in my positions, from being the intern to being the bookkeeper, and then now to being the general manager and dipping my hand into sales, and even into working with the development team. So he's provided a lot of opportunities for me to grow personally and professionally, which has been really helpful.
And again, I just love to hear those stories. They're great reminders that we didn't get here on our own. We had someone that was, helping us, patting us on the back or kicking us in the butt, whatever we needed at that time. So appreciate you sharing.
Yeah.
Let's go and jump right into it. As I've mentioned, VitalSigns Wall of Fame, very great sponsor of our state association here in Florida, the FIAAA. But maybe not everyone listening is familiar with the company and the product. So let's jump right in. What is Wall of Fame, VitalSigns? What do they do? And we'll take a deeper dive too, but tell us a little bit about the company.
Yeah, absolutely. So VitalSigns is our digital signage branch of the company. We actually also have a custom software branch as well. We've been in business for over 20 years, and most of that time has been doing custom jobs. So hospitals, museums, big projects, but they've all been custom jobs. The Wall of Fame, actually, about a handful of years ago when Ryan was an athletic director, he knew what we did, and came to me and said, hey, could you guys do something where all these pictures are on our walls? We've run out of room. We've got all this recognition. You do digital signage. Can you somehow come up with something to make this all digital? And so that was really the kickoff point for the Wall of Fame. We gathered some other athletic directors from around the area, kind of had a roundtable with them, ask them what they'd like to see, what they would want to use this for. And that's really where the Wall of Fame kind of was born. And so we've been working obviously then with athletic directors over the years and kind of building our product to include more and more to enable recognizing all the different areas in a school and providing the way for you to display your content in that digital format.
Yeah, and it's really a cool technology. For our listeners, we're recording this on August 11th. So when you hear it, it's going to be pretty timely information. And we'll do this again. Gretchen, if one of our ADs or coaches listening wants to reach out and get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so we're actually launching a new website, hopefully this weekend. So you'll go to VitalSignsWallOfFame.com and you can check us out through there. There is a link where you can do like a contact us form. So you could fill that out and that will come to us. There's also a phone number on there. But then my email is just simply Gretchen@VitalSignsWallOfFame.com. We're also on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram as well, if you ever want to check us out that way, showing pictures of the installation and content as well.
Yeah. And this isn't just a sponsor plug or anything. As I mentioned, the FIAAA, has one of the Wall of Fames for our FIAAA Hall of Fame. Very cool product. And again, we're going to let Gretchen talk a little bit more about some of those products in just a second. Yeah, it's just really some cool stuff, Gretchen. One of the things that we try to do with the podcast is this idea of sharing best practices. So I'm going to put you on the spot here. What are some best practices that you can share with our listeners as far as using VitalSigns and Wall of Fame? You got any examples?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have what we call our content matters philosophy. And so we believe that your content should be displayed in the best way possible. And if you think about it, when you walk into any high school, one of the first things that you see along the walls are recognizing your students. And a lot of times that's your student athletes. So whether it be trophies or your all-state athlete pictures on the walls or just the championship banners, anything like that, we want to provide a digital format for you. We obviously believe in recognizing students for all of their achievements. So we have come up with over 20 different templates, different layouts. And so what we do is we help you find the best way to display your content within your sign. And if you think about it, a trophy or a plaque can only tell so much of a story. And so with the Wall of Fame, we tell the entire story. So maybe you get to read the entire bio of your Hall of Fame inductees, or you get to see the journey of that championship team, even just video clips along the way as well. And so that's what we work with you, is to take your content and put it into the system and make it compelling and to be able to tell the entire story.
Do you have any examples that you might be able to share with us?
I would love to.
Again, for our podcast listeners, you're going to be able to hear about this, but for our YouTube viewers, you're going to be able to see these.
Yeah. So this is where we work with you to really set up your site to be branded specifically to your school. So we get to name it whatever you want, whether that be with your mascot, we get to brand it with your logos and your school colors. And what we call the attract screen is you can fill this with pictures that scroll on through, so it's still compelling when it's not in use. A lot of athletic directors will have like the seniors from the fall season scrolling through and then change it up with the winter and then the spring seasons. We also allow you to show a Twitter feed, which is fun. But then really you get to dive into each area. So with athletics, you can dive into your Hall of Fame, and this is where we help you set up the navigation that makes most sense to you. And we work with you on what's the best template selection. So if you want to, again, include more logos or add the entire biography of your Hall of Famer, you can do that there. And again, with the championships, I'm displaying a picture of a banner template that we came up with. So again, we were recognizing that this was something that athletic directors wanted in our system. We didn't have a template that worked, so we created one for them. And even that one has a few different optional layouts. And again, with championships, we really like to talk about storytelling. So if you want to show the team and the trophy, maybe highlighting the seniors and showing that highlight clip, you can tell the whole story in one section and be able to give that from start to finish. We also worked with athletic directors to be able to just highlight their varsity teams. Making it onto a varsity team is an accomplishment. And so providing a way for you to display maybe the pictures and also the rosters and recognizing them that way. Another fun thing that we have is what we call our carousel feature. And so when you're at the board, you can literally just finger swipe through and you can have your trophies showcased. Because if you think about even something like trophy cases, those get filled up quickly. And so what do you do with those old ones? So if you have a picture of it and you archive it in the Wall of Fame, it is always there. And so you don't have to worry about storage or anything like that. It's always there to be recognized. So yeah, that's just a quick little highlight with the athletics area. Yeah.
That trophy carousel feature, so cool. I know I've been at other schools, but the school I'm most recently at, very blessed with athletes and great coaches and great parents. And so a district championship trophy is really, it's an afterthought. We're pretty much sure our kids are going to win district and win big. So it's the regionals and the states that fill up our trophy case. But what a great way to acknowledge each one of those district champions or conference, whatever your school uses, in a unique, visual and easy to access way. Very cool.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we have fun developing new and exciting ways to display content. So it's always fun to do new and exciting things. So.
Well, again, for our podcast listeners, obviously you can't see this stuff right now. You'll have to wait for the YouTube video to post. But Gretchen, give them that website again, where they can go and see all of these cool features.
Yeah, so it's VitalSigns, walloffame.com. And you can see different installations and content. And again, too, if you do contact me, I can walk you through a demo of our site. And again, showing these things that they maybe can't see today, walking them through the demo site and showing them these features.
Yeah. We are visiting with Gretchen Walker, the general manager of VitalSigns Wall of Fame. We're going to come back and hear some more, but right now we're going to take a quick break and hear from our podcast sponsor, Violet Defense is dedicated to protecting our world from germs by bringing the power of UV disinfection to everyday spaces. Their patented technology enables them to harness the power of the sun to incorporate ultraviolet light into products and environments like never before. Whether you're ready to implement existing products, or if you'd like to explore researching and developing a custom deployment of their technology for your school, Violet Defense has the solutions and the experience you need. Thanks again to Violet Defense for sponsoring the Educational AD Podcast. Welcome back to our visit with Gretchen Walker, the general manager at VitalSigns Wall of Fame. Gretchen, since we started doing these podcasts about a year ago, one question I've been asking our athletic directors revolves around this idea of social awareness or even social justice. And this is my question. What are some things that athletic directors and coaches can do a better job of in this area for their kids, their coaches, their communities? How can ADs be more socially aware?
Yeah, I think it's just important these days for especially the youth to just feel like they're included, to feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves. I think that's what gives them the drive and then that sense of belonging. And where we like to come in and help is the Wall of Fame can be expanded beyond athletics. It started as an athletic product because that's just kind of the way it came in. But we quickly saw the opportunity to expand it to all students. So you can recognize the athletic or the academic achievements, all the different awards that are given to students for all the hard work that they put in, but even just student involvement. So maybe it's things like clubs that they're involved in, the different things that they do through that, giving them a space on the Wall of Fame, and it's just ego boosting for them. It shows them that they have a place. They have a place in the school. I mean, sometimes, as we all know, athletics can kind of get the bad rap, but that, you know, they're the ones on the walls. They're the ones getting all of the new fun things, but really this can be expanded beyond that. And a school is a team in itself. And so providing the opportunity for all the areas of the school to really give their recognition, whether it be the art department, even just showing the different pieces of artwork that the students have created, just really giving that sense of community. And again, you're showing the history and the current students as well. So bringing that all together under this product, I think is just really community building.
Well, I mean, what a great idea. I never really thought of that. And you're absolutely right. Everybody at the school is a team and everybody has their role. Great idea. And recognizing those students that might not be involved in athletics, but hey, putting their name on the wall of fame might be just that method of reaching out to get them onto a team. And even not as a player, maybe as a manager, as a stat keeper, or even a fan to come to the game. What a tremendous idea. Thanks so much for sharing that. Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, Gretchen, this has been so cool. I know we've emailed a few times. Now I've got a face to go with that name. And once again, we really appreciate everything that VitalSigns Wall of Fame does for our state association. But we're not done yet. We always like to wrap up with what we call the athletic director's toolbox. And as we've established, you're not an AD, but I think you've got a pretty good perspective, at least as the AD's wife and as a professional that deals with athletic directors across the country. So here's my challenge to you. You're sending out a brand new athletic director on their very first job, but I'm only going to let you put 3 things in their toolbox. What 3 items are going to go in Gretchen Walker's athletic director toolbox?
Okay. Well, the first one, of course, I'm going to have to relate it to the Wall of Fame specifically. But even as a new AD, I think don't be afraid to suggest a new way of doing things. I think a lot of times you can walk into the role and think you just have to carry on the same way of doing it all. But don't be afraid to introduce something like the Wall of Fame as an option for the recognition. So I am here to help the new ADs introduce this as an option for them. But also, again, just being an AD's wife, it's been really fun over the years. I've been able to attend the national conference before I was a vendor as a wife. And one of the things I love about the athletic director community is that it really is a community where there's, in the sports world, there's competition, but in the AD world, there's really not. I love the way that they share ideas with each other. They have, it's a unique position where you really only understand each other's grievances in a very special and unique way. I will say that it's been fun with my husband's podcast to listen to that with the off-duty ADs, for me to listen in even on that and just the camaraderie that the 3 of them have. And so with all of that, just reaching out to your fellow ADs, asking for suggestions, going to those conferences to learn, listening to the podcasts, especially like this one, to be able to find out different ways of doing the different things. And then again, as a wife, just making sure that you've set aside time for yourself and your family to recharge, to regroup. Don't make this a 24/7 job or you will burn yourself out. But lean on those who are around you and just shut off the phone, shut down the computer, whatever it is, walk away for a little bit and just have that time to recharge.
Very, very good advice. And all of those tools appear in our book, The Athletic Director's Toolbox, of which your toolbox suggestions are going to go into the 2nd edition, which will be coming out in spring of 2022. One more time, Gretchen Walker, if our listeners want to reach out to you and pick your brain, find out more about VitalSigns Wall of Fame, or maybe an AD's wife wants to get some advice, how can they get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So it's VitalSignsWallOfFame.com is the website. And again, you can do the contact us form and that'll go directly to me, and I can reach back out to you. I also have the email, Gretchen@VitalSignsWallofFame.com. So you can find us those ways. Yep.
Gretchen Walker, thanks so much for being on the podcast today.
Absolutely. Thank you again for the opportunity.
For our listeners, remember the Zoom recordings of these interviews are being uploaded to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We appreciate you listening today. Come back again next time for another episode of the Educational AD.